Hey everybody, Stacy here. I'm so excited. I have the new Ms. US International. She's going to come on. She's going to talk about all of her amazing pageant experience. And let me tell you, she has so much to share. So stay with us right here on Pageantry Now. Hey everybody, it's Stacy. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm super excited to be back to doing a Facebook Live. It's been a little bit crazy in my life, but I'm excited to be able to Facebook Live on Pageantry Now and being able to talk to all of you and have special guests on. And today's special guest is really fantastic. She is the new Ms. US International. She's going to talk about all the things she's been doing in pageantry and all the things she plans to do with her title. And I'm so excited to have Corrin on and get to know her a little bit better. But before we do that, let's just talk a little bit about Pageantry Now and what we are all about. It's about highlighting positivity in pageantry and the amazing things that title holders are doing using a crown and a sash to change their world. We encourage you to be here, be positive, be part of the conversation. Make sure that you keep all of your comments PC because we do have teams that watch and we want to make sure that we are encouraging them to be part of this. I see people popping on, so bring your comments in and let's get this party started. Here we go. Hi, how are you? I'm so excited.
Yeah, very excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Already we're getting comments. Kenzie says, love the necklace. Thank you, Kenzie. I appreciate it. Ralph says, good evening to Stacy and Corrin. And Kenzie says, I forget how much I love the intro. I always miss it. Thank you so much. Mackenzie is one of what we call our crownies. She's been with me since we started doing the show in 2016. So a couple of days, but she started with me when she was 13. So
I love that. Hi, Kenzie. Nice to meet you.
All right. So do me a favor. Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself so that everybody knows.
Sure. So hi, everyone. My name is Corrin Stellakis, and I am the 2021 Miss US International. I won my title on June 25th, so it's been a little over a month now, which is crazy, but I have been in pageantry since 2014, and I absolutely love what it does for women. So I started my own business and opened my physical location for Fit to Reign in 2017. It's a pageant coaching, self-development coaching, and personal training business where I help empower women, help them to understand their value and pursue their purpose in life. I absolutely love what I do, and above all, I love empowering women and just encouraging them to see all of their potential and to really just pursue their dreams. So that is my main goal through pageantry, to continue empowering women, or as Miss US International calls it, to cheer on all women, and that is what I do.
That is fantastic. And already you have your followers. Kathy says, great coach. So that's fantastic. And we are so excited to have you. And I have to say, like, I have officially followed you. I even know about Fit to Reign, but we were talking a little bit about before we started, and just how amazing you have changed so many lives and really taken something that was, I guess, kind of a fluke for you with getting involved in pageantry. And then turned it into something that has become, your life. So let's talk a little bit about how you got started in pageantry, so that we can have a little bit more of that history and know, where you came from.
Right. Yeah. So I grew up on a horse farm, which is something that some people know about me by now because I love to talk about my horses. But I did grow up living on the farm, working very hard, stacking hay bales, cleaning up the manure, doing all the dirty work. And so when I first wanted to get involved in a pageant, my mom looked at me like I was crazy. So I got a pamphlet in the mail from the Miss New York Teen USA organization, and it just said, you could be the next Miss New York Teen USA. And I took the pamphlet to my mom, and I said, Mom, I think I want to try this. And she looked at me like, Are you serious? And I was, and I wanted to. So she encouraged me, and she helped me go around my local community and gain sponsors so that I could participate in the pageant. And then I won the pageant my first big pageant ever. It was such a whirlwind, such an exciting experience, and it completely changed my life because the trajectory for my life going toward horses in the equine world, possibly growing up to be a trainer, or my ultimate goal was to ride in the Olympics someday. And now look at me. I'm a pageant coach. I'm a pageant enthusiast, a fitness enthusiast, and I love working with my self-development clients as well. So it's a totally different path for me. I still get to enjoy my horses, and that side of my life, I always say I have the best of both worlds, and I'm so, so blessed.
That is fantastic. And I know you have worked with Laura Marino. I know that we spoke a little bit about that, and she has this amazing concept for like photography, and you guys kind of stepped into this world like together, which was kind of unique. So let's talk a little. I know this is not the normal format. I usually talk a little bit more about your why, but I find that your story is extremely fascinating. So let's talk about like the stuff that maybe no one talks about. Although Kenny is really into wait. Horse riding and an Olympic. Yes, there was
so many different ways that you could go into the Olympics riding too. There's dressage and jumping and eventing and so many different ways. But I was headed down the jumping track. That was what I was hoping for someday. That was my ultimate goal, my ultimate dream. But now, pageantry is my dream, and I absolutely love both worlds. But to Laura Marino, I'm so glad you brought up Laura Marino because she is my girl. I love her. And Alex Axenfeld as well. She always does the makeup for the photo shoots that Laura Marino shoots. But yes, Laura Marino and I started in the world of pageantry together. She was doing photography for years before me, but it was never pageant photography. And I did not know what I was doing at all getting into the world of pageantry, and I knew that I needed a headshot, and she was the photographer for me. So I went to her and I said, hey, look, this is what I need. And she was like, well, we'll work with it. We'll figure it out. And she shot her first ever pageant headshot with me. And ever since then, we have been working together and promoting each other and empowering one another as we've developed and grown in the world of pageantry. And I just absolutely love her. It's like my own little family over there with her and Alex. And I always say we're the dream team.
That's so cool. Like I know that was kind of like a weird segue, but like I just thought it was so cool because I know you have shot with her before, and I didn't realize that you were like her first. So it was that's so cool because I know she comes up with these super unique ways of being able to catch these very unique photographs that you don't usually see in pageantry. You see a specific style, and she uses all of her creativity in the most amazing ways. So we have tons of, oh my gosh. So now let me catch up. So Ralph is on. He says hello. Kenzie already said she wants to hear about the horses. Anna, hey Anna, how are you? Anna's on.
Hey, girl.
And then my co-host who runs our Instagram, Fatima, is on as PageantryNOW saying hello to people. So thanks, Fatima, for joining. So let's talk about like the why, because I always say that pageantry is a super crazy thing to do. We, just like with the Olympics, we literally are putting ourselves out there to be judged and told we are not good enough. And yet we keep doing that. So except it's about us personally, which I always think is kind of crazy because who wants to openly be criticized? And that's one of the things that you were speaking to me about as well with Fit to Reign is that you really want to empower women. So let's talk about your why and what you are doing to move your why forward and why keep doing this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a wonderful and crazy sport, but I absolutely love it. For me, it all started because I wanted to develop myself. I was just excited about the opportunity to go and meet amazing women or young teens at that point and experience the sisterhood. That was very enticing and exciting for me. I wanted to meet like-minded people and be able to have that great conversation and to hear their stories as well. And then to also develop skill sets like an interview skill set and public speaking, just communicating with people. And growing up, I was my family fostered children. So I had plenty of children in my house growing up that were my foster brothers and sisters. So I always had compassion for people from a very young age, And I wanted to just love on people and encourage people and empower people. So I think for me, it was not only the empowerment factor, because I love that. And that's my why still to this day with Fit to Reign, and just throughout my whole journey, hoping to empower women and to encourage them to pursue their purpose in life and to see their value as daughters of the King. Because I really, truly believe everybody is a beautiful creation of God. But it was also a wonderful way for me to just develop myself, to grow as a young woman and to grow into a woman. And I really believe that pageantry has polished me up, and it has not changed who I am in my heart, but it has really just refined my skills and developed my confidence and has connected me to the people that I needed to be connected with in order to make it this far in my career and in my life.
That is fantastic. I agree. Like we kind of started in the same place. Like I started at Teen USA because that was an easier place other than this little local pageant that I did. But that whole idea of like wanting to meet new people and have new experiences and the skill set, Kenzie even said the skill set of public speaking was such a huge part of that, especially for me. And then, there's always that part of you as a teen that's going, well, I'm going to be famous and I'm going to do these things and I'm going to do this thing. And then you get in the middle of this creature that is pageantry and you go, oh, wait, it doesn't exactly work that way. It doesn't. I mean, in your case, like you went right to one of the biggest formats for being able to compete in pageantry and won. And then, we're on the stage at Miss Teen USA. So that has to be like totally life-changing to go. Kenzie's fascinated with the idea of mixing horses and pageantry, by the way. They're
together.
I
love it. I'll have to send her some photos of my ponies.
But how has that changed you? And so, I mean, it has to have changed you really significantly to go. So I hate talking about previous lineage, but let's talk a little bit about the titles that you have had previously.
Sure.
And then where you're going forward to hopefully taking the Miss International crown next year, because it's kind of confusing for everybody. Maritza is competing in Japan in November, and then next year, 2022, you'll be competing in Japan. Is that correct?
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about your history, your her story.
I love that. Yes. So I started actually, like you were saying, a local pageant before the USA system. I started at a very tiny local pageant called Miss Junior Oz. I grew up going to school in the Chittenango School District. And for those of you who don't know, Frank Albaum, who is the author of The Wizard of Oz, is from Chittenango. And so every year we had an Oz parade and an Oz fest. And
I am totally geeking out. I'm sorry. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but having a little bit of a geek moment. Okay, go ahead.
It's such a cool thing. So yeah, we wanted to celebrate the history of that. And so we have this tiny little pageant, or we did, they don't run it anymore, but maybe someday I will pick it back up. But it was called Miss Oz and Miss Junior Oz. And I was 14 and I went and I competed for Miss Junior Oz against one other girl and I won. So to me, that meant I got to wave in the parade. And then at the end of the year, I got to go give up my crown. And when I went to go the following year to give up my crown, one of the judges for that year's pageant was Nina Debulari, who was at the time in Miss Fayetteville, like she was from Miss Syracuse, and then she went and won New York, and then she went and won Miss America. Yeah. And to me, when she was Miss Syracuse, I was just so in awe of her, so amazed by her, and I watched her go compete for New York, and I watched her go compete for Miss America, and I was so inspired. And at that pageant, when I was giving up my title of Miss Junior Oz, she encouraged me, and she said, "Oh my gosh, you have potential in the world of pageantry. I'd love to see you continue." And so little does she know, she had made such a huge impact on my life. So fast forward to 2014, when I got the letter in the mail to compete for Miss New York Teen USA, I took that and I ran with it, and I competed for Miss New York Teen USA. I won that. I did not place at Miss Teen USA, but I learned from that experience. And then from there, I actually moved on to the Miss division, and I competed at Miss World America as the youngest competitor at the age of 17. And I placed top 12 that year at Miss World America. I was very proud of myself, very excited being the youngest woman there. And, being 17 and competing against 28-year-olds, that's a big difference. So I was very excited with that placement. And then from there, I went to the Earth system, and I competed for Miss New York Earth USA, and I won the state title, and I went and won Miss Earth USA at the national level. And then I went and later was crowned Miss Earth Fire internationally. So from then, I just loved pageantry. I wanted to continue. In 2017, I applied for, interviewed for the title of Miss Multiverse America, and I went to the Dominican Republic for 3 weeks representing Miss America for the Multiverse organization, and I won the international title of Miss Multiverse while simultaneously competing in the reality TV show I Am Multiverse, which was a crazy fun experience. And then from there, I continued, and now I am Miss US International. I represented New York at the national pageant, and here I am. I'm Miss US International, and I am hoping to prep and do my absolute best at the Miss International stage and hopefully take that crown back to the USA. And recently, I had an amazing opportunity to work with both Valerie Kettle from That's My Dress. I love her. She was the one who sponsored my 2 gowns, my preliminary and my finals gown, for Miss US International, which, by the way, were both Jonathan Kane.
Jonathan Kane.
And here it is, the big news. While in Atlanta, I was just modeling in Atlanta Market. While there, I met with both Val and Jonathan Kane and designed my Miss International gown. So he and Val are both my sponsors, and we just teamwork. We made it happen, and it's going to be amazing. So
you heard it here, everybody. Jonathan Kane is doing her international gown. Just so
yes, you know. So exciting. So
I'm so jealous because, like, I have a designer that just reached out to me and is asking me from the Philippines and saying, "Hey, would you like a competition gown?" I'm like, "Well, I'm not competing anymore. For everybody that doesn't know, I am resigning, retiring. I'm not resigning. I'm retiring." I love this format, and I love getting to know people, and I think it's so hard to compete and be able to still be able to give other women opportunities to hear their stories. So, but Jonathan is one of my favorite designers, but it's always hard to find plus size stuff. So I'm like taking pictures of different pieces and trying to put them together, and I'm like, one day I'll ask. Maybe he'll make something for me.
Yes, he's so sweet. I loved meeting him. He was just as awesome in person as he is over social media that we all get to see. So such an awesome experience to meet someone that's just so humble and so talented.
So sweet.
Super excited.
Super excited. He's like so down to earth and just very like, I've met him briefly, but I was like so impressed by the charisma and just the honest, like down to earth. That doesn't happen a lot of times. I don't know. I guess with designers, I get that we meet designers and we think they're going to be a certain way, and then you meet them, and they're like, gosh darn it, they're so nice. That's so cool. Right? All right, we have, so your Grammy is on, so just so you know, your aunt is on saying hi to you. Kenzie says, I'm retiring. Yes, I'm retiring. I so that everybody knows, I don't know if anybody's followed, but I won the title of Ms. Achievement World 3 weeks ago, and my heart was pounding so hard on a virtual pageant because we were done virtually for safety reasons. That I don't think I can do a live pageant anymore. So I am going to go on and hopefully inspire other people and hopefully help other people, do what they do. So with that being said, it says from Ralph, he says, what was your inspiration for the name Fit to Reign as a former Miss Earth title holder? How will you promote the protection of the environment as Miss US International? Great question.
Okay, 2 questions in one. I love it. Okay, so first question, what is the inspiration behind the name of Fit to Reign? There are a few different things that go into this title. So first and foremost, being fit to reign means that you are a daughter of the King being Jesus Christ. I believe that we're all beautiful creations of God. We are his children. And so knowing that I am a daughter of the King means that I am fit to reign. And that is first and foremost the most important thing about the name Fit to Reign. Secondly, reign as in crown. So if you are fit to reign, that means you're fit for the crown. And if you are fit, muscles.
Woo! Look at those guns. Wait, do that again. Oh my gosh. Woohoo!
Work on your physique, make sure that you are healthy, you are strong, and that you take care of your mind and your body. So being fit to reign means that you are mentally, intellectually, socially, spiritually, physically, and emotionally fit to reign. And that is the inspiration behind the name Fit to Reign. And as Miss US International now, continuing to promote the protection of our environment is very important to me. And for me, it's always been about lifestyle. I really believe that you have to live your life as an example, as a role model. And so I will continue to promote taking care of our environment just in the way that I live my life and in the actions that I take every single day. And that is what my plan is for promoting environmental sustainability, even as your Miss US International.
Fantastic. Good question. That was fantastic. Thanks, Ralph, for sharing. So let's talk a little bit about the Miss International competition so that everybody knows, because let's face it, that is one of the big four, big five. So depending on who you ask, everybody has, Ralph says, great answer. It was a fantastic answer.
Well,
but
thank you.
clearly we know why you won the titles. So let's talk about the areas of competition and a little bit more about Miss International and Miss US International so people are familiar with that.
Yes. So I was so just ready for this pageant. I could not wait. And what I loved about this pageant was the breakdown of the scores. It's a little bit different from what you see generally. Generally, the interview, it weighs the most in a pageant, and then the on stage are a little bit less. However, it's flipped in this pageant, and they really are looking for a beauty queen, which I really appreciate, because there is no reason to not celebrate beauty. Just like we celebrate people who have high IQs or people who are extremely athletic, there is no reason not to celebrate beauty. So I love that about Miss US International. It's a 45, 45, 10% breakdown. So evening gown and swimsuit are both 45% of the score and 10% of interview. And I loved that because I think it's so very important to continue celebrating beauty as well as intellect. And those are the three areas of competition. So another thing I love about this pageant system, too, is that you get to compete on stage before they even meet you in an interview. A lot of times I feel like when you go into interview first and then you compete on stage, your interview may reflect in your scores later on in the preliminary competition. And I loved how this system, Miss US International, had the preliminary competition first so that you could rock the stage and your scores were solely based on how well you performed. And then you had your interview. So I loved how they set that up. So we had preliminaries and then interview and then finals. And your preliminary score and your interview score got you into the top 16. And then once you made it into the first cut, then your scores were solely dependent on your swimsuit walk, your evening gown walk, and your onstage question. And that is how you ended up winning the pageant. And I just love that because it's a different breakdown. It celebrates women differently.
Really neat.
And you get to really showcase your ability to walk and your fashion sense and showcase your personality through the gown that you choose as well as your swimsuit and just how you rock the stage. And then the interview is just really an added bonus. Having that personality and being able to communicate with people is so important. So I think it is such a great definition of still celebrating beauty, cheering women, and empowering women across the country.
That is, and that in comparison to where you have been in pageantry, that is a very different breakdown. So that had to be super exciting to be challenged, because I think sometimes you can get in a rut or get stuck in a specific way of competition, and then you kind of emotionally get stuck too, especially if you're not successful. So not everybody has a great stage presence. Not everybody has a great interview presence. So I always say that it's super important to try different systems to find what's going to work for you and really resonate for you, because not everybody's got the same things that make them special. And I agree with that idea of fit to reign. We are all unique. We are all beautiful and fantastic and perfectly imperfect, which I think people, especially today, we've talked a little bit about women empowerment and being able to have teens, which is one of your focuses, is working on helping to empower teens, and we can talk about it in a second as well. But there's so much that goes on with beauty and seeing beauty filtered. I think that that is a huge challenge that teens are dealing with right now. And being able to find, yes, you want internal beauty, but beauty not having to have it be photoshopped and filtered. And the things that you think you see on social media are not always the way they are.
Right.
So
Right.
I think that that's really cool. Okay, so Anna's got a question. I know that was a really weird segue. All right, so Anna says, what is the biggest lesson you've learned as you continue your journey through pageantry? Is it an element that you have consistently seen or different?
I love that. I really believe the biggest thing that I've learned is that my biggest competition is myself and my own mindset and where I set my goals. When I go to compete, it's so easy to think that I'm competing against all the beautiful and amazing and accomplished women that are going to be on the same stage that I'm on. But what I've really learned throughout pageantry is the best way to compete in a pageant is to compete against yourself and who you were last time you competed, and make sure that each time you're bringing a stronger, better, more empowered version of yourself, a more confident version of yourself to the stage. And that's exactly what I did when I just competed for Miss US International. Being a title holder and having competed and held both national and international titles already, and then going back and holding a state title and then going to compete at nationals again, some people will say, well, why would you go backwards? Why would you do that all over again when you've already held an international title? But for me, it's about developing myself and continuing to challenge myself to be a better version of myself. And when I went to compete this time, I was so dedicated to my physique, to my nutritional habits, to my wardrobe, and making sure that I planned out every single detail with my hair and makeup and my accessories, down to the shoes that I was wearing, the way that I did my nails. And I wanted to just present the most well-rounded, the most refined and polished version of myself that I have ever brought to the stage. And just realizing that my biggest competition is who I was the last time I competed is such a realization to have, and it really pushes me to be even better than I was the last time. So it's definitely been a consistent lesson for me as I've continued throughout the world of pageantry and throughout life. In everything that I do, I always want to be better today than I was yesterday and better tomorrow than I am today.
And I love that. I love it. In fact, Kenzie said perfectly imperfect. It's true. We are perfectly imperfect. There's nobody else like us. Scars, wrinkles, whatever the roles are. I shared something on social media yesterday. When everybody bends over, they've got a roll somewhere. So let's just face it. It just is. That is the way human body is made. Hello. So, but I think we don't spend enough time like really reveling in who we are, and also and also recognizing, like you said, I think the best part about pageantry is recognizing it's hard not to think about who you're competing against, but at the end of the day, it's about you being better.
Right.
Not better than somebody else, better than you.
Exactly. And another thing that I love about the US system and organization and how Harrison runs the pageant is she makes it such a comfortable atmosphere for you to be competing with the women that you're competing with, because you really develop friendships before you really compete. So when we first got there, we had a white party. So everybody wore white and we just partied the night away. We had a DJ, we had delicious food, and we had so much fun dancing and getting to know each other and developing those friendships. And then after that, we had a hat party and everybody wore a hat that represented their state, and we just played fun games and still got to know each other on a deeper level. And then we all went to Disney Springs together, and it was pouring down rain, so we really bonded in the rain and just had a great time going with the flow. And so Britt Harrison and her whole team does such a great job of making it a very warm and welcoming atmosphere where the women competing get to know each other, they develop those friendships, and by the end of the week, they're just so happy for whoever is successful in the pageant. And I just met some of the most amazing, empowering, accomplished women while I was competing. And that's another reason that I keep competing and that I don't stop just because I've already been at that international level. I want to keep making those amazing friends and keep making those connections, because that's what makes life worth living, is the people that are in your life.
I agree with you totally. I mean, that's the reason that, people are like, so why do you do this show? And I said, because first of all, technology has enabled me to be able to travel anywhere in the world. and be able, I mean, this concept started at a pageant. I was streaming live and people were like, wait, streaming live, how are you doing that? And that was before there was really Facebook Live. It hadn't even started at that point. I was using another app. And I found out about it at Miss Universe. They were using this app, and I went, wait, that's so cool. We could bring a pageant live to people as it's happening and be able to talk to, women as they get crowned and talk about their experiences. And to me, that was just so awesome. Yes, Kenzie, you now. You remember those days. So there is an app that's around called You Now, and that was where we started. That's where the name PageantryNOW came from, because it was
cool.
now.
Yeah.
And really literally trying to get title holders to come on right as they got crowned and talk about their why. Because
I like that.
and from all over the world, which was really cool. And then about a year later, Facebook started with Facebook Live, and that's when they started doing that. And so then we changed formats and went to Facebook Live. But for a year, every day at 8 o'clock, I was live on You Now doing a show about pageantry that nobody watched. But
that's okay. And you're doing your part in empowering women and helping them feel important and special and what they're doing and what their mission is, and that's such an important role to play.
Well, and so seldom, not because most title holders don't get an opportunity to be highlighted or to hear their story. You see them get crowned, and you see them crown their successor. But what happens in the 364 days in between?
Right.
Would people have known about your story, about your love of horses, and how everything changed, and that was your goal to be in the Olympics? I'm sure they have, but you know what I'm saying is that not everybody would get that opportunity, and I really wanted to be able to highlight people and get to know them and really know their stories.
Yeah,
I think that's fascinating. Okay, Ralph has a long. Oh, have to go. Pleasure hanging out with you. Thankful for God to have Stacy and Corrin and friends and sisters. You're both down to earth, kind, wonderful persons with hearts of gold. I wish you both the best. May God bless you and your families always. May everyone here have a blessed evening. Salamat. Thanks so much. I appreciate it, Ralph. Stay safe.
Thank you. He's so sweet. He's
very
supportive. He came to my pageant. He wanted to compete and win.
He in fact, Maritza had said, hey, just come up, because I'm in Miami, and I was like, okay. And I was a week away from me getting ready to compete, and I was like, I just don't think I can do pageant and getting ready for pageant and travel and run my business at the same time, because summer is crazy in the gymnastics world. So I told Maritza, I said, maybe next year I'll plan it better so that I can, because I watched everything, so I knew you had won. But I know he'd come, and he's like, I got to go out to dinner with her, and we took her to the airport, and I was like, that's so cool.
He's so sweet. He's so awesome. Yeah, I really appreciate Ralph. He is a brother in Christ and just such a wonderful human being. So definitely appreciate him.
All right, so I've taken way too much of your time, but I've loved getting
to it's totally fun. I love it.
I always feel bad because I'm like, I could talk for hours, and I know I can. So, so just let's talk a little bit about your mission with Fit to Reign, because I think that's super important too, because as you shared with me previous to us starting the show, it isn't just about pageant coaching. So if you would be so kind to talk about your development of Fit to Reign and what your goals are with it.
Sure, absolutely. So I have my degree in communication, psychology, and Christian counseling. And I am a pageant coach, but there are so many young women in this country, in the world, that don't necessarily want to compete in pageantry, but they want to grow, they want to gain confidence, they want to understand their value, pursue their purpose in life. And so self-development coaching is a huge part of my business, Fit to Reign. It's a big service that I offer because in the world that we live in today, and with the society the way it is, with social media and the upward comparisons and the pressures that teens are facing, and having to compare themselves to all of those filtered images, like you were saying earlier, it's so easy for a young woman's confidence to be destroyed, or for her to feel like she can't live up to what society thinks women should be living up to these days. So it's a place, Fit to Reign is a place where young women can come, they can find out who they are, what they want to do with their lives, understand the value of their being as daughters of the King, and develop skill sets that help them to gain that confidence and to feel like they're living a purposeful life, a purpose-driven life. And that is what Fit to Reign is all about. I help women and young girls who struggle with their confidence, who struggle to see their value, develop those skill sets and develop those communication skills so that they're able to kill it in a job interview or a college interview, or even applying for something that is one of their biggest dreams, whether it's doing marching band in high school, or it's in your first play as an actress, or even trying to get into the modeling world, whatever it is. I think it's so important to take those dreams captive, to declare victory over your life, and to just speak victory over your life, and always make sure that you are speaking positivity, because once you change your words, you change your life. And that's what Fit to Reign is all about. It's about declaring victory. It's about understanding your value. It's about pursuing your purpose and gaining that confidence that you deserve to have.
That is fantastic. And honestly, I gotta say, like, I feel like I say it often when I do the show, no accidents. Like, that, my whole thing is positivity and pageantry. And I believe that. Like, I honestly believe that if it hadn't been for pageants, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing right now. We spoke before, and I'd said, I'm on the spectrum. Most people, I've had people outwardly say, "There's no way you're on the spectrum. That's a lie. You're lying." And I'm like, no, I am.
Right.
But this, everybody knows me since I've been doing pageantry. They don't know me before pageantry happened. And being able to find that person and develop that person is really about the being confident and finding that person that you are inside and being okay with that. And
Right.
that is really something that many adults, many humans, just their entire life don't have. So if you can take a moment and be able to focus into that positivity and take those things that are negatives and go, you know what, I can do better than that. Like, I can be better. Like, anytime. Okay, hold on. We've got questions. Nancy says, amen. Kenzie says, I really like that. Sounds really good for teens and young adults, especially in this day and age, because it's so easy to compare yourself. I think, and adults do that. Don't think that it's just teens. Adults are always, it's always what the Joneses have, and not really looking at what do I have? What is it that makes me special and unique and amazing?
Absolutely. I love that.
And then Nancy says, I love how so many queens are lights. I absolutely agree. And that's really the concept of this show too, is showing what you are doing, using a crown and a sash to change your world. Right. Now, your world may be, in your little town, or your world may be your city, or your world may be, your state or your country. It could be international. But one of the phrases I say often is, a drop in the ocean eventually becomes a wave of change. Be the drop in the ocean. Right. Be the drop. You can make a change. So
yeah, and one of the things that I always share with people too, and something that I've personally experienced in my life, is that you really never know what someone is going through, because it's so easy to look at someone's social media, or just to see them walking around the grocery store or wherever you see someone, and they can put on a facade, they can pretend like everything is okay, but you never know the burden that someone is carrying and how heavy that burden is. So kindness is so important. And this is something that I've actually never shared on a live interview before, but a couple years back, I developed a speech disorder, and a lot of people would call it spasmodic dysphonia. Some people call it muscle tension dysphonia. And I went through a period of my life where I went through neurological testing. I visited 4 different neurologists. I just went through a year of testing trying to figure out exactly what was wrong with me, and it came down to the fact that I had a muscle tension dysphonia, basically where the muscles surrounding my vocal cords just slam together randomly with there's no really reason behind it. And for about a year, you could not really understand me that well while I was speaking. It was very, very challenging for me to get my message out. And my poor clients had to go along the ride with me, and they didn't know what was happening, and I didn't know what was happening. And it destroyed my confidence, because as a woman who's developing a business and a lifestyle in public speaking and pageant coaching and trying to make it in the pageant world, if you miss me between 2017 and 2021, that's because I was not confident in myself, in my ability to compete, and my ability to be a title holder, because I wasn't even able to control my own speaking pattern. But I went through a full year of intensive speech therapy, relearning how to speak again, how to breathe again, how to do things that people don't even think about doing in their daily life, so that I could continue to share my message. And if you were to hear me talk a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, it would have been very broken up, very just choppy. The way I describe it is it's like holding a microphone and then someone just keeps covering the mic. And that was such a hard thing for me to go through, and it really had a toll on my confidence, but I was able to overcome it. I did what I could do in my power to work through it. I prayed a lot, and I believe that Jesus heals, and I know that God has his hand in this, and I just continue to get better and better every day. But that's why I say you never know what someone's going through. People would look at my social media and my life and say, oh, she's got it all together. But I didn't at that point, and I was struggling a lot. But that's another one of my messages, is to just continue to be that kind person, that light in the darkness for other people, and help take away their burden as much as you can, because people are always carrying a burden. You never know what someone's going through, and it's so important to be kind and empowering when you can be.
I agree. My director is watching. She says, love this. I love you, Diana. Thank you so much. Kenzie says, a drop in the ocean eventually becomes a wave of change. Kenzie says, preach. I agree. There is no testimony without the test. And I have to tell you, I'm honored that you shared that story, because we do get this idea that everything is perfect, and people see a pageant queen and they think, oh, it's just so wonderful. And every morning now I'm doing morning moments where I don't have my hair and makeup done, and I just take 2 minutes or 3 minutes and just say whatever's popping into my brain, because I wake up in the morning and I feel empowered, or that something has said to me, this is what you need to talk about, whatever it is. And I think it's important that through this reign that I am able to really share, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Like, we have real lives, and it isn't all fashion and, bright lights and photography and all of the things that we think pageantry might be. There's real life that happens around it too. And I really think it's important that we bring some of that out into the light. So I am grateful that you shared your story and your challenges, because it teaches us that we can't always see what's going on necessarily.
Right.
And I'm grateful for that. And Kenzie says we used to, and we still do, end every share. You never know what everyone's going through behind closed doors, but at the end of every show, I always say, hashtag be kind to one another. Because I believe that. I know it is what Ellen DeGeneres has said, but I really believe that if you take the moment to be kind to somebody, you never know if at that particular moment, that's the inspiration that allows them to find the light they need to get to that next moment.
Just having that conversation with a good friend of mine, and we were talking about I was talking about how previously in life, I would think compliments all the time. I would think, oh my gosh, that woman is beautiful, or I love her shoes, or wow, that was an amazing speech, or whatever it was that I thought in my mind, but I wouldn't necessarily take that next step of verbalizing that compliment about that person. And I made it a point, probably about a year and a half ago, I'd say, to make sure when I thought something positive of somebody and I wanted to I wanted to share that compliment, that I did, that I verbalized it, and that I gave them that compliment, because you never know what impact it could possibly make. So that's another message that I would share with people is, if you think something that's going to benefit someone or encourage them or lift them up or bless them in some way, I feel it's so, so important to verbalize it and to share it with that person, because sometimes when people do that for me, it's exactly what I needed to hear, or it just made my day and put a smile on my face for the rest of the day. And I want to do that for other people. And so I just find it to be so important to verbalize and to speak truth and to speak life into other people, and to use your words to just uplift others and to encourage them and to make them feel good about themselves, and so they can see themselves as someone who is fit to reign, as a daughter of the king or as a son of the king. So it's so important to help people realize whose they are, because that's when they'll find their true identity and really understand life.
That is fantastic. I love so. Kenzie says, we don't live in a picture perfect world. Behind the closed doors are the bumps and the craziness of the world. Social media makes it too easy to hide our craziness. It's really easy to be able to hide, behind things. Oh, Cindel's on. Hello, gorgeous. Hey, babes, how are you? You know Cindel too? No, I don't know.
I don't think I know Cindel, but hello.
She is Mrs. Pennsylvania Galaxy. Previously, she was Mrs. Pennsylvania America.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so I really thank you for taking the time and sharing your soul with us and sharing your story, because, I love that. I think that that's a magical part of this process for me, is hearing other people's, realness. And sometimes people are not brave enough to share their real, but I found that right around 30 minutes, sometimes I get to that place. With my psychology background too, I kind of get to that little place and something comes out in that nugget that makes it the aha moment for everybody else. So I am grateful that you have shared your aha moments, because someone heard it and they went, yeah, that's it. So I am so, so grateful. Can she share how to contact her? That's exactly what I was going to say. Would you be so kind enough to share your information, because Cindel is running a program right now. It's actually a campaign on social media that's called, oh my gosh, my brain just shut down, Cindel. Show Us Your Heart. And it's about heart health, but she wants to get title holders to just say a little snippet about how they stay heart healthy, and Fit to Reign would be a great way to
that's perfect. Yes. So if you want to learn more about Miss US International, you can check the website at missusinternational.com. You can also check out the Instagram Miss US International. It's also on Facebook. For Fit to Reign is on Facebook. It's also at fit_to_reign and Fit to Reign on Instagram. And then you can find me at Corrin Stellakis on Instagram as well, and on Facebook. So please do. And my email is fittoreign@gmail.com. So plenty of ways to get in touch with me. Instagram, Facebook, and email are the best ways for sure.
Fantastic. All right. So let me just really quick go through. I've got people messaging. Okay. Cindel said hi. Oh, yeah. Kenzie said, by the way, your crown is gorgeous. And I have to tell you, at one moment when you were speaking and I did a close up, the light caught the earrings that you were wearing, and it caught it caught the green in the crown too. And I went, oh my gosh, that is breathtaking.
The former Miss US International, Bonnie Walls, just wanted to give these beautiful earrings to me. So thank you, and shout out to Bonnie.
Yay! Oh, look at this. Everybody's putting
it's not underscore with a 2. It's not the number 2. It's TO.
Oh, yes. Okay. So correct that, please. It's so funny. I have these back.
If you're trying to find me, you can find me. But maybe I should just get that one too. See if that's available.
There we go. Oh, see, there you go. Then
I'll snag that one as well.
Okay, so is it Fit to Reign with the 2, or is it Fit to Reign?
So it's FITTOREIGN.
Okay. Cindel says, what a beautiful story. Fit to Reign. We've corrected it. There we go.
Beautiful.
I just want to thank you so much for coming on, being vulnerable, sharing your story, sharing your experiences. I'm grateful. I really am honored to get to know you a little bit better. I look forward to following the rest. I mean, I know that wherever you go from here, hopefully to the title of Miss International next year. But I know that whatever you do, we're gonna see you again in pageantry over and over and over again. You have that personality, and I think that that's magical, and we need more of that. So that positivity and that light comes through honestly, and I think that that is remarkable. So
Thank you so much. Well, I feel very blessed to have had this opportunity to talk with you and all of the lovely people that joined us tonight, and just such an honor and a blessing to be here. So thank you.
all right, hold on. Let me wrap up the show. I'm going to take you off so they won't see you. So thanks for being here. Hold on one second. Sorry, guys. Thank you so much, everybody. You guys are amazing. Again, I am so grateful for all of you that joined us tonight and got to know more about Corrin and her life and all the amazing things she's doing. If you are a Crownie, we love you always. If this is your first time here, we love you too. Thank you for being here. If you haven't already, please like us, follow us, and subscribe, because without my Crownies, I can be sitting here talking to amazing people, but it's so much better when I can share it with all of you. So thanks so much, everybody, for being here. Great interview, and hashtag PageantryNOW, and be kind to one another. And we will see you guys next time. That's a wrap.